Welcome to the Indie Film Hustle Podcast, episode number 198. The screen is a magic medium. It has such power that it can retain interest as it conveys emotion and mood like no other art form can hope to tackle. Stanley Kubrick.
Broadcasting from the back alley in Hollywood, it's the Indie Film Hustle Podcast, where we show you how to survive and thrive as an indie filmmaker in the jungles of the film biz. And here's your host, Alex Ferrari.
Welcome, my Indie Film Hustlers, to another episode of the Indie Film Hustle Podcast. I am your humble host, Alex Ferrari. Now, today's show is sponsored by TaylorSound.com. One of the most complicated problems I've had in my professional career is sound, and sound mixing, sound design is generally always very expensive. But Taylor Sound has come onto the scene and has done something pretty incredible. Like so many other things you have in the world today, now you can get your sound design online. They're offering flat promotional rates for commercials, music videos, short films, and any other video content that's short form. They're very affordable, and because you are an Indie Film Hustle Tribe member, we'll get 15% off your order. Just type in the word hustle in the post your brief section. That's TAILOR sound.com. So today, my Indie Film Hustlers, we are going to talk about AFM, the American film market. I had the pleasure of getting an all-access pass to AFM, and I walked the hallways, I spoke to people, had meetings, and I'm returning back with the booty, if you will, all the information that I found and all the experience of what AFM is and how it can affect you guys as filmmakers and what takeaways I got from it, and hopefully it will help you as well. And I want to thank all the tribe members who came up to me while I was walking around the halls and said hi and told me their stories. And it was just an absolute pleasure to meet more of the tribe and find out what I could do more to help you guys along your journey. So big thank you and shout out to all of the tribe members I spoke to at AFM. Now, what's the one main takeaway I got from AFM? You know, I've been to AFM before, but I never had a pass. I was one of those guys that was just hanging around the lobby, hoping to, either take some meetings, which I did, but I never really got into the meat of what AFM had to offer. And by finally getting a pass to go up into the rafters, a la Bruce Lee in Game of Death, I was able to go up level by level and really see how the machine works. Walking those halls and seeing company after company, distributor after distributor, film after film, I took one thing and I noticed just one big thing, that at AFM, they do not care about your craft. They do not care about your personal film. They don't care about the art. They don't care about any of that. They care about a product. Can they sell this product? Your film is a product at AFM. There is no art. There's no celebration of the art or how good the movie is. It's about what genre is it, who is in it, and what actors are they, and then can those actors sell territories? And what can I sell this movie for? That is all they care about. And it was in full effect because some of the movies take that to the umpth degree. When you have Steven Seagal versus Mike Tyson, yes, that is a movie coming out. That movie is going to do gangbusters. That movie alone will probably make about $15-20 million worldwide, if not more, purely because of the power and the concept of Mike Tyson versus Steven Seagal. It's insane. But that's what the business is at AFM. Sure, you'll see some indie movies like This Is Meg was there, and we were selling through our distributor internationally there. And there are people looking for that kind of product. Romantic comedies or small indies. There is a marketplace for that, but it is not what most of the distributors and most of the buyers are looking for. They're looking for genre. They're looking for action. Some horror, but not a lot. I didn't see a lot of horror out there this time. It was more family, action, thriller, animation, and documentary. Those were the ones that I saw everywhere. Those are the big things, the big genres that were selling and selling well. Action, of course, is always going to sell well because it travels well. Not a lot of dialogue. Action is action, no matter what country you're in. And that's why horrors historically do so well, but there's just such a gluttony of horror films out there right now that the price has gone way, way down. If you can even get a distributor to even buy it or even try to sell it, there's just too many, unless you have big stars and things like that on it. But it reaffirmed a lot. Being at AFM reaffirmed a lot of the things I already knew, but seeing it in action is so impressive. The one thing I'm going to say that everybody listening to this podcast do, if you are a filmmaker and you hope to sell a movie one day or make a movie and sell that movie one day, you need to go to AFM. You need to at least get a day pass and walk around, talk to people, make some appointments with distributors, and see how independent movies are sold. This is the real, in the trenches kind of buying and selling. This is what makes the industry go round. Not the Sundance deals you hear about, not the lottery tickets of, someone coming in and paying $500,000, $2 million for a movie. Those are great and they're wonderful for press, but that is not the day in, day out business of entertainment of the film industry. It's this kind of marketplace. Selling and buying films is where you need to be to see how it's really done. So many filmmakers will make their movie and have no idea of where they're going to sell it, how they're going to sell it, and even how to even do it in the first place. It's mind-boggling, but I'll be talking about that in another episode coming up soon. Now, I know a lot of you know that I've self-distributed This Is Meg through Distribber, where I got it on all the TOV platforms, transactional video on demand platforms, as well as in Hulu, and getting it distributed there. But I also have an international distributor, someone who's going to handle my international sales. That's something that self-distribution is not as good at right now because they don't have the reach yet. Yes, sure, you could put it on iTunes all around the world. Yes, you could put it on Amazon around the world, but that's not the same as selling it to different territories. That's where you're going to be making a bulk of your money, is selling it to those different territories. And the only place you're going to have access to this kind of stuff is at AFM. So just let me break it down really simply for everybody in the audience who doesn't have a basic understanding of how distribution and distributors work. If I have an independent film, I made This Is Meg, for example, and I'm not just self-distributing it. I'm just going to go to a distributor. You sign a deal with the distributor. Chances are you're probably not going to get any money up front. Those deals are rare nowadays, but it happens. But more than likely, you're not going to get any money up front unless you have big stars or something like that attached or a lot of heat on your project. You go to a distributor and the distributor goes, okay, we're going to take it on and we're going to put it in our catalog. Generally, you're going to do a 5 to 7 year agreement, meaning that they own the distribution rights for those years, and you're going to get a certain percentage back. Generally, 25% is what a distributor's take is. Now, there's going to be multiple different costs involved. Every time a distributor goes to a major market like AFM or Cannes or Berlin, they're going to charge the filmmaker per film. So, and that's case by case basis, depending on what distributor you go with. But there's going to be a cost involved with that. So make sure you cap. Make sure that that distribution deal, you have a cap on P&A, advertising costs. You have to just cap the cost, because if you sign a deal with no caps on cost, you will never see a dime. So let's say once you get that, the distributor gets their movie, they go to AFM, let's say. They go to AFM, they open up a booth there, which is basically a hotel room. And then once they're in there, they're going to make meetings with buyers all throughout the AFM. And these buyers are going to come in, make deals, and like, hey, I'm looking for comedies. I'm looking for romantic comedies. I'm looking for actions. And then the distributor will look in their catalog of their movies that are up for sale right now, in the brand new stuff, and they'll pitch it to them. They'll pitch it to them just like, face to face. Like, here's the trailer. Here's the movie. Sometimes deals are made on the spot. Rarely, but on the spot sometimes. Generally, what happens is everyone exchanges cards, everyone exchanges information, and then a few weeks later, they follow up, and then deals are made. So This Is Meg was sold in China and South Africa, and we have other pending deals currently. And a lot of those deals, we're waiting now to see what happens at AFM, because AFM is more of a U.S. kind of based market where a film like This Is Meg will probably do better because there's a lot more U.S. buyers, hence because it's here in the U.S. And when we were at Cannes, it's a lot more European buyers. So U.S. movies do well, but it's not as good as you could do here at AFM. And then there's lots more that goes on afterwards. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsor. And now back to the show. But that's the general idea of what happens to the life cycle of a film once it gets into the distributor's hands and the process at AFM and what they're doing. Another thing I learned, and I wanted to pass on to you guys, is you really should go to AFM to find out what your movie is worth. Because you might think it's worth something, that one number, and the marketplace will tell you, no, it's not worth that. It's worth this. If anything, if you have a movie idea, a script, a package of some sort prior to shooting, and if you can make it, go to AFM, take some meetings, talk to distributors and see, hey, I'm thinking about doing this movie and I'm packaging it this way. Is this actor worth anything in the marketplace? Perfect example is I did a movie once with Eric Roberts in it, and the director-producer hired Eric Roberts specifically not only for his talent, but because of his name and what he thought his name would bring in the international sales. Well, what he found out, the rude awakening, was that Eric Roberts that year did like 20 movies. He had just nonstop, so he diluted his value, and it was worthless to him at this point. He literally had distributors saying, I can't take your movie, as nice as it might be, because I have 3 other Eric Roberts movies, so I can't sell another one. And this happened again and again and again until he finally found someone, but it was much less than he thought he would get for the movie, without question. So be aware of that. And these are the kind of things you find out at AFM. You go there, you talk to people, you make connections, and you make connections with distributors where when your movie is done, you have a list of distributors that you've already had a contact with in one way, shape, or form. And then you can stay in contact while you're doing production stuff, because trust me, distributors are looking for content. Distributors are looking for films to distribute. Without them, they don't have a business. So they're very interested in I mentioned it in passing to a few distributors about some of the stuff I'm doing in the future. And they were all very, well, who are you casting? Who's going to be in it? How are you doing this? They're very interested in what you're doing. So that is another reason why heading over to AFM might be well worth your time. Another big thing at AFM that I think is super valuable for filmmakers is the conferences and the Pitch Fest. The Pitch Fest is legendary at this point, where you actually see people pitching in front of a live studio audience, where you can actually take notes at how they're pitching and take notes at their critiques and learn how to actually pitch a movie. There's also other conferences and panels where you listen to distribution experts, industry experts, screenwriters. Everybody is there trying to help you, the next generation coming up. So the conferences alone is well worth the price of admission. And the last thing I think you should take away from AFM is contacts. You have no idea how many contacts I made just in the 2 days that I happened to go. And I didn't have any meetings lined up, really. I just kind of showed up and found a few people that I knew, and one thing led to another, and I found this person in the hall, and all of a sudden, my day was gone. And I was getting cards and meeting people. It's amazing. I know a couple of Indie Film Hustle Tribe members that came out from New York just to make contact. Sal and Joe from Heckler Kane Creations came out specifically for contacts. And I met up with them right before they got on the plane back to New York on the red eye. And they showed me a stack of cards that they had gotten and all the contacts they had made just by walking around and meeting people left and right. It is invaluable. I can't express to you how many contacts you can make there. Another tip, by the way, another slight insider's tip. AFM is over at the Lowe's hotel on Santa Monica, and it is packed. It's just crazy packed all the time. A lot of the big players that really are doing business where you don't need a pass is you go over to Casa del Mar, which is down the street. So many different players and guys in the business are taking meetings there. The bar there is a lot more open. You can make a lot of contacts there as well. It was a great surprise when I went in there and saw it was wall to wall meetings and people just sitting down talking and just you could see everyone jumping from meeting to meeting all in the main lobby. It was really, really entertaining, but the vibe there is much more chilled than the craziness that is AFM. So I hope you guys learned a little bit about the inside world of AFM. It really is invaluable for you guys to go. I can't wait to go next year and hopefully have some new product to try to sell at next year's AFM. And if you want to get more details about AFM, I highly recommend you listen to my interview with Jonathan Wolf, the managing director of AFM, which is episode 192. That's at indiefilmhustle.com/192. It's the definitive guide to selling your movie at AFM. And another insider episode I did, which was with Ben Yeti, episode 15. So that's indiefilmhustle.com/015. And Ben literally wrote the book on how to sell your independent film at the American film market. So I'll leave those both in the show notes. And of course, the show notes for this episode are at indiefilmhustle.com/198. Now, on a side note, guys, I've got some huge news coming up in December. I can't wait to share it with you guys. All I got to tell you is 2018 is going to be sick. I have got so much planned for 2018, specifically January, what we're doing at Sundance this year. I am going to be speaking again. This is the first time I've announced this, but I will be speaking again at Slamdance, talking about my love for Blackmagic and Blackmagic cameras and the Resolve. And I'm going to be talking a 2-hour discussion about how I did my post on the Hulu show Dimension 404, as well as the show I shot for Legendary Pictures using the Ursa Mini called The Space Program. We're going to go through all of that and also talk a little bit of This Is Meg. And so we're talking lighting, editing, the whole ball of wax. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to be there January 20th. I don't know what the times are, but as we get closer to it, I'll give you the exact dates and time, but I will be at Sundance. And I really want to organize some sort of meetup for Indie Film Hustle Tribe members at Sundance. So if you guys are going to Sundance this year, please reach out. I'd love to meet you. If there's enough of us, we could kind of set up a little thing where we could all sit down and talk for a while. If you're going to Sundance, please reach out to me at ifhsubmissions@gmail.com. Let me know that you're going, and we're going to kind of set up some sort of meetup while we're there. So let's see how many tribe members are going to be going to Sundance this year. But regardless, it's going to be an insane 2018 for everybody, especially for the tribe. And I'm 2 away from episode number 200, and I have some plans for episode 200, so definitely check it out. I might be putting it out this week. I might put it out next week. Don't know, but we got at least one more episode this week, possibly 2, because I'm getting a little nutty. Last week I had 4 episodes. In the history of the podcast, I've never put out 4 episodes in 1 week. But I love you guys. I love doing this. I got so much stuff I want to give you guys, so much information I want to give you guys to help you on your journey. It's insane. I'm a maniac. Please, someone stop me. All right, guys. So as always, keep that hustle going, keep that dream alive, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for listening to the Indie Film Hustle podcast at indiefilmhustle.com. That's INDIEFILMHUSTLE.com.